schematically this defense is compared to what you guys face in the Pac-12. What do you see from the defensive line schematically first, beyond their talent?
Yeah, I think they're just really physical, really stout up front. Obviously, they come really hard off the ball, not like a lot of Pac-12 teams that kind of run around stuff and just kind of, but there's exceptions to everything. I think Derek Brown does a really good job of watching where the football is and not sticking on the blocks. They're all really twitchy guys, but at the same time, you got to come off the ball because they're so stout.
I was going to say the individual matchups for you, Shane, of Brown and 91 Co.
Yeah.
What have you seen on tape of those two guys?
They're the best. They're the best in the country for a reason, I feel like. And I think it's just a great opportunity to be able to go against them. I think that, we've done a lot this past couple of years just to really build what our program is, especially in the offensive line, just the pride and everything that comes with that. And I think that, we have a lot of respect for Auburn, and we can't wait for Saturday. So, yeah.
Is there anyone you face either schematically or talent-wise, whether it's Utah or Gaines from Washington?
Yeah, I think it's probably, I don't think it's even close, but I'd say probably UW or Utah. Those are two really stout teams, Stanford, stuff like that. But I don't think anything close. I think, obviously, Auburn has one of the best defensive fronts in the entire country, so yeah.
How would you compare it to Michigan State?
I'd say, it's right up there, too. I think every team's going to have different little stuff. I feel like Auburn's D-line is a lot better than Michigan State. I think the best part of Michigan State's defense was their linebackers. I think their D linemen are really good, but I think Auburn's linebackers are just as good. So I don't know. Yeah.
How much have you been anticipating this matchup? And is it nice, maybe on a day like today?
Yeah.
Maybe you've been ignoring the obvious to just sort of come out right in front with it and be able to talk about it and acknowledge it.
Yeah. I think going back to freshman year, we'd always look ahead, and even when it came out, because those non-conference games come out 4 years before. So even when we were freshmen, we were looking, I can't wait to play Auburn in Dallas Cowboy Stadium. So we've always been looking forward to that. But I think we're just treating it, like every single game. I think there's been a mantra the last couple of years here, just faceless opponent, and just preparing for ourselves, and not beating ourselves and focusing on ourselves for game week. So yeah.
Do you feel like there's obviously this is one of 12 games,
Yeah.
but does this feel like one of those opportunities where so much has been said about you guys, so much has been said about them? You can really prove yourself this year individually, the program as a whole.
We don't want to hype it up, you know what I mean? I think we take every single game one by one. Like you saw last year where we built so much up against UW and kind of, just didn't do good after that. So I think it's just taking one game at a time and really just focusing on getting better every single week and making Tuesdays and Wednesdays our best practices of the week. So, yeah.
What's the confidence in this team and the expectations that have been put on you? Why are you so confident that can happen?
I think, the pieces are falling together. I think that we still have a lot more to do, and I think, even the game weeks like this week, we're still getting better, and we're still competing and all that. So, I think just all the pieces are coming together with Justin coming back, and I think the leadership we have and everything like that. So, yeah.
So you realize maybe you don't think in these terms necessarily, but on an individual basis, this is kind of a payday in a sense for you, because when you go to the combine, man, you're going to be calling out what are the 3 games to look at film-wise.
Yeah.
This is going to be example 1,
Yeah.
and it's going to be against possibly, like you just said, the best defensive tackle in the country.
For sure.
How big is this individually, specifically for you? Now, I know it's about the team, but
Yeah.
for you personally, this is a huge example.
I don't really think about that. You know what I mean? It's just I think it's always we had kind of a mantra in the O-line room where it's not really about the individual. We have to play as a team, and I think it's just working in the film room together and getting together. And because we treat every single block, it's not a one-on-one block. It's always we're getting help with somebody else, and it's it's just the whole unit. So I think I don't really like to think about that. You know what I mean? I've kind of always been like that. So yeah.
Do you think the fact that you guys are so experienced on offense can cut down on those first game mistakes you saw in the 2 games last week?
I think it always happens. You know what I mean? The first game's always kind of jittery. You saw from last week, and we made some lessons of the game and saw a lot of the penalties and all that kind of stuff. And I think we have a leadership-ran team or a majority senior team, and I think that we do a really good job of keeping it down in practice with drops, penalties, holding calls and that kind of stuff. So I think it's really just back to focusing on ourselves and what we've been doing. So yeah.
What it's about, especially for the seniors, it's about the here and the now. It's
Yeah.
this season, but Mario's always talked about, at least to us, about with where this thing's headed, with
Yeah.
where this, does he speak like that to you guys about the future and
For sure.
the overarching deal?
Yeah.
What's kind of the message when he's talking?
I think Coach Mirabal does a really good job of teaching us legacy. What's our legacy going to be? And he always tells us, what are the O-linemen 4 or 5 years from now going to think of, Jake Hansen, Shane Lemieux, Calvin Throckmorton. And I think, what the legacy we leave is how we work, how we teach the younger guys, and how we're remembered here. And I think that's just the biggest thing. I know, there's probably Haloti Nada probably loves watching Jordan Scott. You know what I mean? And I know Jordan Scott loves Haloti Nada. So that's kind of the legacy we want to keep building and just continues to get better. So yeah.
What do you think Justin's legacy will be if he plays this year like you guys know he can?
I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in Oregon history. You know what I mean? Just all the work that I've seen him put in. I think he's going to have a really successful year. Yeah.
What areas have you seen him improve on? Because quarterback's a position where you're always working.
Probably just vocal leadership. You know what I mean? I think that's always kind of been Justin Herbert's flaw. Everyone's always said that he's not a leader, a vocal leader. And I think he's just really taking the next steps to become that vocal leader on the football team and really just kind of harness the team together when we get sidetracked in practice. Yeah.
After waiting for this game for 8 months or whatever it's been, almost 9 months, what's this week like? How do you stay locked in instead of looking at Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, I think it comes down to our practice schedule. Tuesday and Wednesday is really a hard practice. It's really physical, and as soon as we're done, we really just surround ourselves with ball 24/7. If we're not in the practice field, we're watching tape, and you just get so lost in just the schematics and the assignments and watching tape and everything. You really don't think of the game until it's here. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing. We're preparing now, and we prepare up to game day, and we prepare at halftime. You know what I mean? So the preparation doesn't really end, and we just surround ourselves with that so much we get lost in it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Get a chance to watch 2 games that were played last weekend?
Oh yeah, I watched them in my house and all that, and Coach Cristobal did. He put them all up, and just some of the little stuff, the first James jitters and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's how it always is. Week 0 is always kind of crazy, and I think that's always a good lesson to learn from. So yeah.
What are the things that happen week 1 that because it's the first game? What are those typical things of that you guys really have to make sure it doesn't happen?
I think cramping is a big thing. I think people are always cramped. They're not hydrated well. I think holding calls, false starts are always a big thing. Missed tackles is always a big thing. So I think, that's just the little stuff we've been preaching all offseason for the last few years. So, yeah.
You mentioned Jordan. I'm sure you're sick of dancing with him
Yeah.
in this camp. Who are some other guys in Andy's defense that you think will, after the Auburn game, people will know that they don't know about
I think,
now?
Austin Falyu's always kind of been, he hasn't been up to, Jordan's kind of, famous mark here. So I think he's playing in a scheme that he really feels like he fits well, and he's really able to rush the passer well. And he's an explosive, twitchy guy. A lot of, I remember I went against Boise State with Coach Avalos' defense, so I know they had a lot of guys like Austin Falyu who really just thrived in that defense. And I think, Isaac Slade, I think he's been having a phenomenal fall camp, and he's continuing to have a really great game week. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see him. So I'd say those 2 guys.
What are people missing with Falyu that we don't see when, you brought up?
I think he's a quiet guy. I think he's not, an outspoken guy. He's not really on Twitter or anything like that kind of stuff. So a lot of fans don't see him. And, I think he hasn't put as much work in ever as he did this last offseason. So no one really sees, the work he put in. So I think that's just the way he's worked is really good to set him up for a good season. So.
You guys practiced Offsite last Friday. You guys are going a day earlier than normal. I mean, just what does that do for you guys with road games and just getting acclimated? Just
switching stuff up. You know what I mean? Like if we're practicing, the right side's always the offensive practice field. The left side's always the defensive practice field. So switching that up, just kind of switches mentality and everything, and lets you. Change adversity. So, if something happens in a game, you got to be able to ready to switch it off. So, it's different. Obviously we have a historically bad away schedule or away win-loss record, and we just want to continue building on that and making that better. So, yeah.